I just can't wait till we go back and listen to this episode in even 5 years. Like can we have a watch party and listen to this in 5 years and be like, "Oh my gosh, we were such babies with this."
This is the Good Influencer Podcast with Julia Markham and Becca McLeod, pulling back the curtain of how this multi-billion-dollar industry works. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.
Someone showed that Vogue, they opened up the spread. It's the one with Anne Hathaway on the front cover. I think it's new. Inside, I believe there's an ad from Guess. And the model, who looks amazing in very fine print in like the what is that called? Like the seam or whatever. It's like model by AI. It's an AI model.
Oh no.
It in Vogue. Like, what are we doing?
I really hate that.
I hate that so much. And I am just like, we're cooked. Like,
this is it. Signing
this
off.
is it. I'm like, how did we go from like, let's not airbrush people anymore to AI models?
I did see one thing, which I still don't know if I agree with this, but they were basically looking for ways for models to be in more than one place at once. And so these models were licensing their AI likeness to these brands to use for different campaigns. So it is a model, and I hope they're getting paid, but it's like an AI version of them.
Is there a shortage of models? Is there a shortage of people that want to be models?
Look, Vogue, if you're looking, sure, I'll do it.
I think back to the 2000s, and let's think about Giselle. Okay, Giselle was everywhere. Don't tell me, oh, you need models to be more than one place at one time. It was everywhere you looked. We had our 7 models and they were everywhere. So that's a lame excuse and I don't buy it. And I don't like the erasure of real people. And I mean, it's happening with influencers. There's AI influencers now. And it's like, how are you going to make sure that you don't get erased or replaced by AI? I also saw, oh my gosh, there's this girl, she's like a skincare health influencer, and she just sued a company for basically using her likeness, turning it into AI, and having her talk about their brand when she never signed off on that.
Oh,
and I
my
think
gosh.
I think it just happened with is it Huda from Love Island?
Yeah.
Like there was like a perfume ad, and that was like all AI. And like millions of people bought this perfume, and they just made it seem like she was talking about it on a live stream, and she wasn't even home from the island yet.
I remember actually a few months ago, someone from the mastermind was like, what do I do about this? Like, I essentially licensed this photo to a brand a few years ago. And I just looked on their website, and they now have an AI version of my photo on their website. It's not the photo I took, but it like they clearly ran it through some kind of platform. And
well, that is the same thing as licensing yourself. Like the reason why we charge for licensing images or videos or reels or any sort of content, any images that belong to us, you have to pay to use those because people see that and it's worth money if it's connected to you, because there's a reason they're using that. This was like early days AI, and I'm just going to say it out loud, the company. I remember, and now this wasn't an image of me, but I remember Home Depot, which we've never been associated with. They started taking a bunch of influencers' popular spaces and basically turning it, I mean, it was kind of before like AI was big, but they turned it into kind of a digital AI rendering of, it was like one of my old laundry rooms. And then they put it on their website and like basically was like, here's everything you need to make this laundry room. And I was like, you can't do that. Like people are connecting that laundry room to me. In my case, as a home influencer, my spaces also count as people. So you can't take my spaces and then turn them into digital renderings without paying me a licensing fee, because those are identifiable places or identifiable people or things. So this is where I think there's going to be a lot more lawsuits coming out of this, and you have to be so careful because you can't just turn something into a digital rendering and say, well, now it's not them anymore, or this is now, like, you can't take someone's likeness and use it to sell a product without that person's permission or compensation.
Right. And I remember, last year we kind of ran into this of we're not going to use other influencers' images on the website anymore. Could we create an AI version, which is kind of showcasing what we're talking about? What you guys ultimately decided, no, we're just not going to do anything with AI, correct?
We did try it a few times, and obviously the technology is moving so quickly. And there are real, I guess you could call them AI designers that can direct, which is really the key to the future. If you can direct AI really well, then you can be successful in that field. I don't think we were very successful in our attempts. We got something that worked, but it felt like it was more hassle than it was worth. I will say, though, we have gotten in trouble multiple times for using photos, even when we credit them. We've been sued. We've been fined, and we're not talking like slap on the wrist. We're talking like we've had to pay tens of thousands of dollars for using other people's photos, even when they are credited on our website. So if you have that, obviously they come out after the big fish first. And I feel like I've put out a lot of warnings about this. We have combed our website so many times, but it's been 16 years, and sometimes our media library is like, I don't know what's going on, but I swear they keep finding them. And then there's also something like, even if we delete it, somehow it's still in the coding. So Chris, he's been very, very adamant. This has been his project for the last couple years, just making sure we are completely compliant. And there are ways around it, and special ways to just obviously get permission, but it's not even always whose person or whose photos it is. Sometimes it is the photographer has their photos protected. And so there's so much to do there. But I do think that there is opportunity to use AI for this business. And we use it. I just used it last week for our quarterly meeting. Anytime I'm trying to brainstorm something, or even say something, present something, an idea, I love to take notes, like ideate things myself and like scratch it all down. And sometimes this is done at 2 a.m. I'm like, okay, I have to remember this. And like, it doesn't always make sense. But we've used AI to help us know what the best time to post on social media is. We've used AI to help us with some hooks for our content. Like, oh, what's a good hook for this reel? When's the best time to post this? Or, it's used for so much more than just like, can you rewrite this email for me? And I do think visually, we are going to be seeing a lot more AI. I feel uncomfortable with it in like it's I think it was just really scary for me to see that in Vogue so soon.
Right. Like that's almost setting, like it's so big, it's setting the precedent for all other magazines, all other media. If Vogue is doing this, everybody can.
And what does that mean for, let's say, companies who want to sponsor influencers? What's stopping them from just creating their own AI influencer and then putting a bunch of money ad spend behind it and boosting it, to the moon, because that influencer obviously doesn't have any followers. So the only way people are going to see it is if they put ad spend behind it. And I'm like, that I can totally see that happening, but those people aren't, and they can even, select their audience that they want to send it to. And so I think this is a really real issue for our industry. But I also see, and I think that's something that we've always been saying, is you have to connect with your audience, because that is what's going to give loyalty and trust. Like, if you are not connecting with your audience, then you can be erased and you can be replaced. No one cares. Like this still image in Vogue, people connect with that visually, but we're saying like you got to connect with your audience every day, and I think really become that person that they look forward to seeing all the time, because things are moving so quick.
Yeah. People really look for that relatability, and it's really hard to relate to a robot or someone that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
They crave that human connection.
Absolutely. I've seen some pretty disturbing news stories about some guys like falling in love with like their chat GPT. And I just read a book about that too this year. But
was it Annie-Bot?
Yeah.
I read that one. Victoria's recommendation. Thank you.
Yeah. It was so funny because I read that and now I'm like seeing news articles and I'm like, wow, people want human connection is what it comes down to. And if you can't provide that to your audience, that human connection, then they will find it somewhere else. So I think that's really a great take home for our audience.
Yeah.
Are you ready to make an extra $1,000 a month? I'm sure you are. On August 20th, I am going to be hosting an exclusive seminar on how to create your own side hustle on social media. I'm going to be sharing all my tips on how to make money from the content that you are already creating and diversify those revenue streams with no large follower count necessary. I'm the queen of a side hustle. Seats are limited, so act now, and you can save your spot by signing up on our website today.
We mentioned on the last episode that the platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube are really cracking down on AI because they recognize that if we start monetizing these accounts using AI, all of our real creators are going to leave. And so at least we have them on our side.
Yeah, and thank goodness. And there's I feel like we've been so down about AI, but isn't it the best when you get this long email and it's automatic now, or you receive a contract and it's automatic. There'll be a pop-up that'll be like, do you want AI to summarize this for you? I was like, thank you. Absolutely. Please give me the bullet points. It happens when I open my Slack.
Oh.
Anytime I open yeah, anytime I open my Slack, it's like, you have 43 unread messages. Do you want a summary? I was like, yes. So I am grateful for those aspects as well.
I am. And, I was just talking to Suze, who's the editor, about this because we have a website course coming out for Good Influencer next month. And I was asking her about how she utilizes AI in a way that keeps that human connection. Obviously, it would be easy just to say, here's my blog post idea, write this blog post for me. But there's real risks to that. People can kind of see through it. And so she says, use AI as your editor, not as your writer. So everything you do, you write the first draft and then put it through AI to say, could you consolidate this a little? Or do you see any typos in here? Instead of making your whole, AI is making your brand for you. And that's where the problems come in. But if you have your brand, you have your tone and personality, and AI is just polishing it, that's the best.
Can I talk about our process for blogging? Because it has changed so much over the past 15 years since I've been blogging. And I feel like a lot of people, especially who have a website, honestly, everyone should have a website, period. You need a landing spot. You need a place where people will be able to find your home base. And that has always been chrislovesjulia.com for us. I'm very active on social media and people can find me there, but it's our website has every answer to everything you could ask about us. It has links, it has storytelling, and it's constantly updated. And so we get to rank on things like Google, and we earn a lot of affiliate revenue there. I'm sure it will all be in the website course.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. So for years and years and years, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember it, probably 9 or 10 years, I wrote myself every blog post. I'm not kidding, 5 to 7 days a week. I typed every blog post. It came from my brain, typed it, put it live. Many of those years, I put the photos in myself. I took the photos myself after I did the project. It was very Little Red Hen.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to do this part. And it was who will help me bake the bread? And it was just I was doing everything. And I know a lot of you are in that boat right now. And so starting a website now, it might feel like I don't have time to do that. Let me tell you about my process with our editor, because I do have an editor right now and it's awesome, but this is something that you can do with the help of AI. So Susan and I sit down for an hour every week and she interviews me, and she has her phone recording our interview. Okay. So she asks me a question. She's like, okay, we're going to do a blog post about the lighting plan in your bathroom. Can you talk to me about that? She's recording it all. She then puts the recording into an AI summary. They type it all out. Okay. So everything I'm saying is all typed out. And if you are someone that you're a one-man show, put your headphones in, go for a walk, and talk about a subject. And you can get that all typed out for you. You can be multitasking. That's how I like to work. I like to multitask. And so it's so much easier for me to leave myself a voice note or to conduct an interview rather than her emailing me and saying, okay, what about, can you answer this question? I'm typing it out is just so hard for me now, just with so much else going on. And so put your thoughts, dictate a blog post and use AI to type that out for you. You can look it over because there's going to be parts that don't make sense. Obviously, go over it, edit it, and then, like you said, put it through AI one more time to polish it. I also love that AI will, ChatGPT, is going to suggest SEO like top SEO titles,
Search
subjects,
terms. Yeah.
search terms. And they're going to be like, would you like to include those? Yes. What would be the best SEO title for this blog post? I love that they like to divide it into different headings. And so you can really optimize your own thoughts using AI. And I think starting a website and writing blog posts is actually easier than ever. And it's so important to get your original thoughts really cemented on the internet because they're coming from you. And of course, ChatGPT can write everything, but you have your own unique point of view. And I think more than ever, I feel like we've talked about this every episode, but people really want rawness and they want kind of like the messiness and imperfection. And that's not something they're going to get from AI. They're not going to get like hesitation or like, I'm not sure about this or like real raw emotion. And so that's something that I really have loved adding into my content lately. And the response has been really positive.
Even your mannerisms. And that's like the benefit to like leaving a voice note or doing some sort of interview for yourself over just writing it out. Because when you write it out, you're paying attention to punctuation and where do I put this comma and being so proper. But when you're just saying it, you catch all of your little mannerisms that I think should be in a blog post because it makes it feel more personal. This is a blog post. It's not an essay.
Yeah. And honestly, I've even noticed it like when I'm watching shows like on Netflix, or I was watching this show on Netflix and I'm like, this has to be, oh my gosh, what was it? It was that Josh Duhamel and Minka Kelly show.
Yeah.
That acting, I mean, the writing of that show was so bad that I'm like, I think AI wrote this. Then you watch something like Succession and you're like, oh, AI is not writing this. There's like actual emotion in this. I'm not saying AI wrote whatever that Minka Kelly, Josh Duhamel show is, but there's a huge difference in the writing. And I do think that like the storytelling of AI versus a real passionate, successful, smart person who's lived through this and who can get their real words and thoughts down will always be king. Okay. Victoria just sent me a message, our manager, and it says, why AI won't replace influencers. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Now it says, okay, AI won't replace influencers. Influence is human. Audiences follow people they trust, relate to, and feel emotionally connected to. AI can mimic a face, but it can't build authentic trust. Bingo. I think we've covered that. I also like that as humans, we change and evolve. And I love that my audience notices that. They say, oh, you seem like you're having like a down day. And they can relate to that like, I'm not always like bubbly or like excited. And have you ever talked to ChatGPT?
Sweet as pie all the time.
Always excited. Always hype man. It's like but it's like that's not always relatable to people. Second, lifestyle and taste are cultural currencies. Real influencers reflect trends, preferences, and lived experiences. AI lacks the life context and credibility to be aspirational in a meaningful way, which I love because honestly, AI can only take its information from things that have already happened.
So true.
As influencers, we are always trying to predict the next thing or show our audiences something new. And I think that's always and should always be the goal. And then lastly, storytelling matters. The most effective influencers don't just post pretty pictures, they tell compelling stories that resonate. AI can assist, but it can't lead with lived narrative, which I love. I love that. You and your story are the most important thing. It does say AI will change influencer culture. AI can generate and clone content, but not connection. So they can generate visuals, captions, voices, even avatars, but the influencers who thrive will be the ones using tools to enhance their content, not replace themselves. Rise of AI influencers, dun, 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 virtual influencers or AI generated TikTok creators do exist, and some brands love them for their controlled consistency. They're often seen more as campaign tools than true personalities. That one,
that was going to be my next question
one.
Is like, can these AI, like, what are the monetizing opportunities there? Now, I understand they're not real people with like a real mortgage and things like that, but are brands willing to work with them? Can they get accepted on an affiliate platform?
I feel like LTK has specifically said they will never accept an AI generated content creator on their platform. I know LTK has said that. I think she might have said it. I feel like when I was on her podcast, I think she might have said that.
Okay, good.
But like, I'm like, I guess whoever is the creator behind the AI would get that? That's weird. That's a trippy thought.
Yeah.
I just can't wait till we go back and listen to this episode in even 5 years. Like, can we have a watch party and listen to this in 5 years and be like, oh my gosh, we were such babies with this. Okay. And then lastly, it says efficiency over artistry. AI will replace many tasks like editing, scripting, trend spotting, meaning influencers who embrace AI can spend more time on the human side, like community strategy and storytelling, which is, I think, really how I have come to use it. It's like, I don't need to spend my time like doing all of the busy like associated things, even reading whole contracts. I can really spend my time connecting with my community, and that's where you should be, and formulating stories and figuring out how that all works together. And so I think that, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but people who just copy other people's content, I think generally right now, in most people's minds, that's acceptable.
And we've kind of created that society ourselves with platforms like TikTok. Hate to say it.
We have. But it really is like, if you are cloning someone else's content, then you are doing exactly what AI is doing. And I predict that in the very short term, that is going to be looked down upon, because people are going to be like, I think people are already like seeing things like AI models or AI content creators or AI images in my Instagram feed. And so they're so like, this is so like not even attainable. Like, what are we doing? This doesn't even make sense. And I honestly think that a lot of people are going to start looking at people who basically just clone other people's content in the same way. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have original thoughts. How is that any different than AI? Unique ideas and unique content creation is going to be even more important, because the people that are just sailing through and oftentimes successfully copying and cloning other people's content, I think that really soon that's going to be looked at in the same way as an AI model in Vogue is, because it's like, well, cool, like this required no thought or no presence.
Right. What I will say about TikTok influencers is that, yes, there is a lot of starting trends and then people hop on that trend and it becomes very repetitive. But the biggest TikTok influencers are the ones who are also starting it. So yes, they hop on trends to
Yes.
stay relevant, but they're also starting them. And that's going to be the biggest difference, is that if you are someone who only copies and can never start a trend, never come up with the next big thing, that's what makes you AI. AI can never come up with the next big thing. Like you said, it's only based on historical information. And so if you are the kind of influencer who can never start a trend, never, come out with the next big thing, you're AI.
You're AI. I'm calling you out. You know what I've actually been thinking about over the last week, and this is advice that we give to all of our new content creators, especially those that are struggling to think of how to create content every day. Like, what am I going to talk about? First, I'll say it's a muscle. So like, just keep doing it and it's going to get easier. But something that I've kind of gotten out of the habit of, and I really want to start again, is I am going to think of a new weekly segment, a recurring weekly segment that is unique to CLJ. I want to give our audience something that they can look forward to every week. And I want it to be something that is original to us. I think that, we had so many of these years and years ago where it's like every day we do this, or once a week we do this. And we kind of got bogged down, and I kind of was just like, I'm just going to do my own thing. And it's been a nice break. But I do think that the creators right now that are really fun to watch are the ones that you can look forward to a very specific thing from them. And I want our audience to feel that from me. I want them to feel like, oh, we're going to get this from them. And I love this kinds of content. And I do think that it takes time for that to be expected. What I do not want you to do is announce that this is going to be something that you're going to be doing every day or every week, okay? just
Don't
just
set
do
yourself
it.
up like that.
Just do it. Just start doing it. It's great for stories. It's great for Instagram stories or TikTok. That this is like something, or this is even how you do something. That fun guy that, he exploded on Instagram and TikTok, where he basically said that he's designing a kitchen for his enemy, and this is what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And it was such specific content to him that you've never seen before. And he went and he did so many different rooms or, themes of that same content. And that's what I'm talking about. I think a lot of people feel like, okay, well, every Wednesday I'm going to do a makeup tutorial. It's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking, how are you going to present this in a way that's unique to you? And then that is your series.
Yeah. I like that. It's kind of like what your niche is. Like, your niche just can't be makeup. It can't be get ready with me. It has to go another level deep of like, how is that specific to you? How is your target audience different from every other person doing this? How are you different from AI in doing this makeup tutorial? It's kind of like AI is another competitor that you have to just stay ahead of.
Bring it on is what I say.
Bring it on, AI. Sure. But you know what? I feel good about watching this in 5 years, because we're not here saying, don't do AI. Don't use AI. It's dangerous. Don't use it. We're here saying there is a place for it. Absolutely. I use it every single day. But,
Right.
I might put in and say, hey, give me 10 content ideas. And it gives me 10 thought starters, but it's never giving me one idea that I'm going to use start to finish. It's just getting those creative juices flowing so I can say, oh, this is a good idea. Here's how I'm going to tweak it for my audience based on content that's performed well in the past.
And I love that the more original your voice is, you can, obviously AI can save, and it's like, remembering all these past conversations so it can get to know you. But also, if you have a presence online, use that to your advantage. Because, I'll say, in Chris Loves Julia style, well, and it knows, it has a better idea. And so the more originality that you can create, the better it's going to perform for you. I also love that, it's not a bad guy. Like, it's not us against AI. It's like, actually, AI's in my pocket, and I'm like, and that's going to even bring my own content to the next level and free up my time, so I'm not like, trying to do all of these little tasks that I don't need to do anymore. I think you have to be a really good director. And I think the problem is people that are just copying other people's content don't have that skill set right now. If you don't have the skill to think of original content, you don't have the skill to direct an AI.
Right. But circling back, another reason you need a website. When you have a website, AI just works better because it, like you said, you can refer back to your website. It can comb it and create more unique ideas, more unique content for you than someone that doesn't have a website or no historical data to pull from.
I think this is just a really honest conversation. And it's so much better than me just like seeing that AI person in Vogue and being like, I'm never buying Vogue again. It's like, okay, so what does this mean? Like, it's here already. This was a decision that was made. I don't think that boycotting things, especially things like AI, is going to get us to where we need to, because AI is already here. I think we have to be very thoughtful and have a personal mantra of how you personally are going to use it and what feels ethical and right for you and your audience. And I think that at Chris Loves Julia, I feel like we're in a really good place where I've played around with creating images of spaces, and I need more practice there. But I also, I love it to help in all the ways that it has helped me assist in making the best content that we can create. Becca and I love chatting with you every week, but in between the podcast episodes, we're hanging out in our influencer mastermind. With a good influencer subscription, you get access to our exclusive course library designed to help you build your business as an influencer, and our mastermind forum on Facebook. This is your place to ask questions, network, and workshop. Here you can receive feedback from thousands of other influencers and our team. Listeners get 30% off their monthly subscription by using the code PODCAST at checkout. See you in the mastermind.
You know what? 3 years ago, we were having this exact same conversation about Reels. People were saying, I'm not doing Reels. I'm boycotting Instagram. I don't want to do it because I don't want to have to be dancing on Instagram or TikTok like all those people. And it's not that you have to boycott it, but embrace it and make it your own. Utilize it in a way that fits your brand.
Oh my gosh. Amen. I can like confidently say I've never danced on TikTok or Instagram, and I've had many, many viral reels. Like, I think that you're so right. People people hear Reels and they thought one thing, and people hear AI and they think one very specific thing. And I think it was the instance that we kind of opened up this episode with, that it's like AI is going to replace us creators. We have to say no. And it's like, well, what if it didn't? And I think that's also like totally different subject, but I think that's also something that schools are going to have to adapt to. You know, if students can find all of the answers to everything from ChatGPT, is the answer banning ChatGPT? Is that even feasible? Or is the answer now teaching students how to really direct people and be able to make executive decisions? Or what is that like? How are the questions going to have to be formulated differently? Or are there questions? Or are the students coming up with tests? Like, I think that there's so many ways that we can rethink things that we've always done a certain way. And I think that summarizes the influencer industry to a T, is you have to be adaptable to be in this industry. I recently have been feeling like, oh, I get why people retire. And it's like, if you just don't want to adapt anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't want to adapt anymore. Then you can go out on top, or, you know, you can just ride the wave. But I think there's so much excitement in adapting at whatever pace that looks like for you.
I totally agree. So I think we kind of have two homework assignments stemming from this episode. Number one, look for ways to utilize AI in your content creation process as your editor, not as your writer, director, all of those things. Look for ways to use AI.
And as your brainstorming partner. I mean, I love a good brainstorm, and I love, like you said, to say, I'm working on a project about gold foil. Can you give me 5 content ideas that have to do with gold foil? And then you can like even break it down more. It's going to ask you, do you want this in a slide? It's going to ask you, like, do you want me help you like make a reel or prompts? Like, I think that it's a great brainstorming tool as well.
Right. It shouldn't be your creative director, but there's a lot of other roles that it can play in your business. And then number 2, we have our website course coming out. Like Julia said, every influencer should have a platform that they own. So start looking at starting a website and what that would look like and what you want to have on there. Start looking at other influencer websites for inspiration of what you do like in a website and what you don't, because the time is now to get your website, your ultimate resource going. And we will see you guys next week.
Thanks, Becca. Bye. Until next time, follow us on YouTube and Instagram at Good Influencer. And if you're ready to join a whole community of influencers growing organically and getting paid to do what they love, join the Good Influencer Mastermind by visiting our website, good-influencer.com. If you're going to be an influencer, be a good one.